Hi guys, my name is Sean. I'm a houseplant enthusiast from Jakarta, Indonesia. Welcome to the Philodendron Martianum episode. In this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you the care, and also I'm going to be propagating this plant, and I'm going to be showing you the updates all within one video. If you like videos like this, feel free to check out my other care and propagation videos. Before we get started, this plant is native to Southeastern Brazil. It is actually a true epiphyte, so it does hate water. It grows on trees, although a lot of us do grow them terrestrially or in pots like this. Now, the Philodendron Martianum has another name called the fat boy. I believe the fat boy is actually a shorter, stubbier version of them with like really thick stem. I don't know what the one in my hand is. Feel free to comment it down below. But again, they are native to Brazil, like a lot of the sexy aeroids that we come to love. And these guys love bright indirect light. They are actually a rosette, although if you see my plant, it is growing sideways because it was grown against the wall. So it depends on how you grow them, but the show quality Philodendron Martianums are rosette. And to attain that rosette look, you really need a bright indirect top light from above. So you cannot have them against the wall, you cannot have them on a shelf with like something covering the top of it, because then it will exfoliate towards the light. But if you like that look, go for it. You don't want to overwater this because it's got very thick leaves, it's got very thick stem, and this is an epiphytic philodendron, so you do not want to overwater this. Trust me, you will rot it so fast. And in terms of nutrients, I fertilize it the same way with my other houseplants. They're not particularly pest prone as a philodendron, even though these leaves look like bok choy. They look really tasty and I'm hungry just looking at it. But please don't eat your philodendrons. They are not particularly prone to infection, but there's been a fungal infection going around my garden. It's pretty mild and I'm on top of it, but some of these older leaves are a little bit sick, but for the most part, all the new leaves look healthy. So in my garden, I do spray them down with fungicide now and then, but philodendrons aren't really particularly prone to fungal or bacterial infection. The anthuriums are, and you know, some of the other more velvety type and it's more finicky, but this is actually a pretty easy one for me. It's not the fastest growing, and these guys can reach a massive size. They can get huge. I was really surprised to see a mature form of this. And without further ado, let's get started with propagating. Now, when you have something grown in a terracotta pot like this, they do stick to the terracotta pot, so I would actually give it a generous soak to make sure that any like roots that are firmly attached to the terracotta pot will be slightly, I don't know, the word is slimy, but you know what I mean. If a root gets in contact with water, they tend to get a little bit more slippery and they let go of the media a lot better. So I'm gonna give this like a generous hose. We do water this likely every day and it's been okay, but I'm curious to see what the inside looks like. It's been a while since I had a peek inside. All right, moment of truth, moment of truth, moment of truth. This is harder than it looks. Oh. Whoa, yes, love it. I guess the roots are actually very healthy. I don't see any dried off roots and I don't see any rot or anything funky. This is considered to be in very good shape. Because I've never propagated this plant before, there is probably like a central stem that goes all the way to the bottom. That's like the original stem. So a lot of leaves sprouted from here, leaves, and all of them obviously died off because all leaves are temporary. And we now have this giant fat stem on top. Now, if you want this to grow bigger, simply just put it in a bigger pot, give it a repot, because this is actually very root bound and it should just do well. I would just cover it up to here, maybe in potting media, so the old leaves may actually die off, but then all these like aerial roots that is put out, I will tuck them back into the pot. So this is actually a healthy plant by all means. But of course, for me, I'm a curious person. All of my plants will end up in the propagation table no matter what, by hook or by crook. It's just a matter of time. So it's time for this one. And I'm actually a little bit nervous because these petioles here are so thick that I think it might be easy to rot it. I managed to get a clearing. So if you see here, I got a clearing and I can see the main stem all the way down. So that really helps a lot. See this? This is like the main stem coming down. So I might do like a cut over here in the middle where there's no leaf, because some baby plants might actually sprout from there. No regrets now. All right, there. This is like the old stem. There's actually very low chance of survival, but honestly, I've got nothing to lose. So I'm going to be putting this probably in moss or something, and then just like see if something grows out of these. I always dab my cuttings onto the activated charcoal just to sterilize them. Now the next question is, how many plants do we want out of this? And because we don't want a ton of them around, I would say maybe I would cut it right into half. I'm going to lose some leaves. 10 points if I don't lose any leaves, but I think I will lose at least one or maybe two. I don't know. Let's see. Let me loosen up the roots. So much roots. This is probably going to be a very easy propagation. And also because the stem is so thick, I have a feeling that it's got a ton of like stored up energy. This is really nice. However, I'm not sure if, well, this is a sizable amount of roots, but for most of you, if you take a top cutting and you don't have enough roots, it is a very good idea to take off a few leaves, because the leaves will need, they will draw moisture. In fact, I might just take one off. Why not? Right, take this one off. Look at how fat this is. This is so cute. Oh my gosh, I really, really love this. Give it like a nice squeeze. Oh my God, I felt something like inside move. Like it's gonna explode. Oh yeah, look at that. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna wash my hands now, only because I don't want there to be any kind of crystal oxalates or something that will irritate my skin. So this top cutting actually looks gorgeous. I'm going to just like wiggle this in, give it a twirl, and then there you go. Nice. All right, so I've got some media here. This is like cocoa chips, bark, and horticultural charcoal for orchids. We do water our plants every day indiscriminately, so I need to give this a very, very chunky potting media. And also keep in mind, these guys are actually epiphytes. They really don't want to be sitting in like soil. And then at this time, I'm actually ready to give it some slow release fertilizer. And for terracotta pots and for chunky media like this that dries up, has a nice like wet and dry cycle, like a daily dry cycle, I would give it more fertilizing. And also with terracotta pots, just so you know, the pot itself is going to absorb some of that nutrients and wick it away from the media. So yeah, there you go. For terracotta pots, you do want to fertilize them just a tad more than plastic pots. Okay, so that is done. And then for this, I'm just gonna pot it up as it is. Maybe in like a plastic pot, but I'm gonna keep this very, very tight. As you can see here, this is like super, super tight fit, because the idea is not for it to grow a ton of roots. I do want this plant to survive. In the course of the next, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 weeks, I want the plant to, first of all, recover from the cut. And number 2, it needs to put out a new vine. So it's supposed to put out something from like the base here. Comment down below to let me know how many shoots you think I will end up with before I show you the update later. No cheating. So this is the mid cut. And then for the lower cut here, I'm just gonna grow this in pure pumice. Now, some of you guys have like luck in perlite, full perlite or moss, but this pumice is like right down there. It's like so close to me. I decided to just go ahead and use it. Now you can just grow it like this. It might root, it might shoot, or it may not, I'm not sure. But also, you know, after watering this plant, you could like give it a tent like this. So this will seal in the humidity. This will seal in the humidity in there, and you'll see like droplets around the glass. And this is what they actually love, and they will put out, you know, new shoots, new roots much faster this way. So I might do it for this one. And this one doesn't need any fertilizer yet or pesticide. Maybe a dab of pesticide just in case, just make sure there's nothing in there. But because this is going to stay constantly humid in there, we don't want a lot, because it is constantly going to be releasing when it's moist. But one thing I want to give it though, for contraptions like this in like really high humidity, I'm gonna give it like this is a fungicide spray. I have like diethane mixed in here. So I'm just gonna spray this down just to make sure that there's no fungus or anything, any rot issues in there, because we didn't clean the main chunk earlier. I'm just gonna leave it like this. So I'm gonna give it a few, I'm gonna give it a few weeks, and then I'll show you some updates. I hope I don't kill them. I really hope I don't. Alright, welcome to a 9 months update. Now 9 months is a long time to wait for an update, but I've been busy traveling and a lot has happened between then and now. As you can see, the wall behind me has filled up pretty nicely, and I've been to a lot of shows, traveled to so many beautiful places, and some of the episodes are already out, but I have a lot of episodes that are still pending to edit, like my Philippines episode. I've got more Thai episodes, and China of course, and Indonesia. So those episodes are coming along the way, but yeah, I've been busy and I've been grateful for all these opportunities to travel and that you guys have stuck around and are watching all these videos. But anyways, I digress. We did have a little plant, a little pot with a bare, stump. That one did not make it. I don't know where it went, and we tried to look around, but if something had sprouted out of it, we would have had it by now. So that one anyways had a low chance of survival. So we've got to let it go. This is the top cutting. It's basically replaced the original plant. This is actually a sign of overwatering when you have a little bit of yellowing around a crisping edge of a leaf. Now, if you only has the crisping edge without the yellow line, that usually signifies underwatering. Now, we did have this leaf in a bright shade outside, and it's been torrentially raining for the past few months. We are of course approaching the dry season now. This is the other cutting that is really important. This is the base cut. So we made the cut over here, and the original leaf, this one, is still attached to that stem. Now, 2 new vines has come out of it, and these 2 new vines are very, very healthy, as you can see from here. So 2 ways I can approach this. I could either separate them because there are enough roots in each of these plantlets to be its own plant, or I can just leave it to grow bigger. In fact, I think it's probably a good idea to even grow 3s of a plant together. For me, I believe in 1s, 3s, and 5s. I don't like even number of plants growing in a pot, but imagine if 3 of them were grown together in a lush pot. That could look really nice. But of course, if you want that massive mature shape, you gotta repot it often. I have a feeling this one here is probably super root bound. By now you can see the roots coming out. But if you keep upsizing the pot often and maybe even ground them, they could probably reach the humongous mature form at some point. But that is not the goal because I don't have the space for that in my house. Thank you so much for watching this all the way to the very end. It's more than I can ask from all of you. But of course, if you want to go further and donate financially to the channel, you may do so as a YouTube member. Simply open any of my videos from a browser, and next to my channel name there will be a join button. And that's really for a small cup of coffee a month, and you're really enabling me to grow the channel, upgrade my equipment, and have a better life. And of course, you can join my Patreon at patreon.com/Sean from OnlyPlants. And if not in this economy, I totally understand. It is a difficult time for a lot of you guys. Just by you guys sticking around, watching my videos all the way to the very end, really means a lot to me. So thank you again. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.